Welcome back to another episode of the Within Range podcast. Damwon Jared Suter, aka Hall & Oates of the Within Range podcast. The ear God is not with us, Jared, but always with us in spirit.
Always.
All right. So the guest we have on today specializes in an area that we haven't necessarily touched on a whole lot. I think we might have interviewed artists who have dabbled with it, have done it, but I would call this man a producer artist, and we're happy to have him on the platform. Some may not know this either, and we talked about this right before the camera started rolling, but he's been in the game for a bit now.
Experience. Tenure.
Right, and we recently have kind of come up on him, but you know, if you've done the research, he's been around. But yeah, excited to interview this man, producer, artist, songwriter, content creator, just had a single that dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, represent Arizona, we are here with NovTheZoner.
Yeah. Thank y'all for having me. All right.
We'll get the claps in there, we'll have Drew add the claps.
Oh,
Live
good.
studio audience.
For real.
So Nov, we had learned about you last season. At the end of last season, we had interviewed Kyrie, and we had dropped a reel where Drew happened to talk about the track Green Ranger.
Right.
That was a track y'all and Kyrie did, and we knew we had to have you on, man. So
Fire.
here you are.
Yeah, man. Green Ranger. That was my joint too. That's so crazy, bro. I saw that reel and I was like, out of all the songs, you know what I'm saying? That one, and then like
Deep cut.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I don't want to say that's our specialty, but
I love that.
it's definitely not our weakness.
Right.
I love that, man. Because I remember even when I made the beat, I don't know where I found these horns, but I don't even know if that horn is like similar to the Green Ranger's theme song, but it sounded like it.
Drew just happened to make that correlation because I think Drew like heard the Green Ranger and he was like, "Wait, there's a horn in there," and that's the ear god kind of.
I got to admit, is that the one with? Is that I know there's probably been multiple, but that was Seth Rogen and Ryan Reynolds, right? Wasn't that what the Green Ranger was?
No, the Power Ranger
Power
was the
Ranger.
Green Ranger.
Oh, the Power Ranger.
Yeah, because remember, if you remember the Power Ranger, the Green Ranger.
I'm thinking Green Lantern.
Oh,
Green
yeah,
Lantern.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, a lot of green. Dude.
So if I was a Power Ranger,
As much
kid
green in my
growing up,
life, I got to keep track of. No, just kidding.
green shirt. But yeah, no, the Green Ranger wasn't in every episode.
Nah, he'd just pop up.
He would just pop up.
Yeah.
And you knew like you were in the presence of something different when he rolled up because you're like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
you don't see the green guy too often.
Right. And I didn't know like what to do with that beat, so I just kind of named it Green Ranger because that's what it sounded like. I sent it to Kyrie. Maybe like a couple weeks or a month later, he sent the hook back with his verse. I was like, oh, like this is crazy. And then I just got on the second verse and he just kept it Green Ranger. He doesn't. We don't say Green Ranger once in the
That's
song.
the name of the song.
It's just the name
Kind
of
of
the
nice
song.
when that happens
Yeah.
because it confuses people. They're like looking for it. It almost makes them listen to it more, and they're like, "Where's the
Like the
Green
DiCaprio
Ranger? What
where
am
he's
I
like,
getting?"
where
Right.
you point to the camera and he's like, there it is.
But then it makes you listen to like the horns in the beat, like, oh, this is what they meant by Green Ranger, instead of like, you know, the song being about a Green Ranger. It's
Right.
weird.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Bit of a tangent, but did you hear about Power Rangers recently? Like, what's come out about them?
I have not.
What dude? Myth busted on them.
Oh, it's all fake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They literally, basically, there was a Japanese show that was already like that, and they just filmed
Well,
themselves
bro,
bouncing
because when it
around.
cuts over and they're already in their suits, you're like, the vibe
Yeah.
is a
You're
little
like, yeah,
different,
you don't
dude.
notice.
I don't
as
know
a
who's
kid,
doing the
though.
cartwheels, but
As
it's
a
not
kid,
that
you're
guy.
like, that's sick.
Right. Wasn't that like the same narrative for Pokemon too? Like, wasn't that already a thing?
Well, I haven't heard that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I started shutting down my brain when I heard that the Beyonce country song was the theme song from Franklin. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Franklin
kids'
the
theme
Turtle?
song.
Dude, I used
It's
to read
the
those books.
Which
dun,
one?
dun, dun, dun. Hey, it's Franklin.
Wow.
Coming over to play the dun, 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 dun.
just
It's
fucked us up with
literally
that,
like
dude.
they looked
You
it up.
know
It's
what's-
literally the
What's
exact.
crazy? I wrote a song for an artist, but I used Mulan's. What is it called?
Tell me
Who's
it
that
was
girl?
Let's Defeat
Who's
the
that
Huns,
girl I
dude.
see?
No,
That's
that's
my
Let's
joint
Defeat the
though.
Huns, dude. Listen, dude.
That's my joint.
It's Future, Key Glock, and then Let's Defeat
Let's
the
get down to
Huns.
business.
yeah. That's the last one before I take the headphones
That's
off
a
and get on the
fact.
chord.
No, but it was like the one where she was like singing because her dad had to go to the war.
Yeah.
But I took the melody,
Was that coding crazy? No, I'm sorry.
but the way that I flipped it, I just used her melody, but I flipped the words. I did that for Arthur
real?
too.
For Arthur?
Arthur.
Yeah, this song that I wrote for another artist called "Spare Me." I
Talking
made the
Arthur
bridge.
the Aardvark?
on Channel 8, PBS, author.
Yeah, Arthur the Aardvark. That's right.
So I
The
took
fist meme?
I said, "Hey, a wonderful time of day."
Dude,
I
wow.
took that, flipped the words,
Childhood memory
kept the melody.
unlocked, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
That's the beauty. I think that's a perfect example of like what a producer can bring to your
Yep.
song that people will hear and it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes an artist has an idea, great if they do, and you can be the vehicle for it, cool.
Right.
But when you bring that to it, when they're not expecting it, just
Yeah.
that's the Salt Bay meme, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
That's a
the
fact.
beauty
That's
of
a
it.
fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Yeah, man.
Man. So, no, we did a little bit of digging, man. From what we understand, Chandler, Arizona?
Chandler, Arizona.
Mesquite High School?
I did go to Mesquite, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what we like to say is, right, so we have listeners that aren't necessarily from Arizona, maybe not even from Phoenix.
Yeah.
If you had to describe Chandler in your own words,
Oh man,
would you
I just had this conversation because my family was just recently out here. My whole side of my mom's family is from Chandler,
okay.
and their parents went to Chandler High.
But you got deep roots
You got
in
legacy
Chandler.
in Chandler.
Yeah,
And
it's
that-
whole
that-
thing.
You got pre-Mormon roots in Chandler. Yeah, you're
Well,
kind
listen,
of like that.
And
you know
not to
what
cut
I'm
him
saying?
off, I was just going to say one thing I noted here is you might be our first East Phoenix artist that we've also interviewed because everyone that we've interviewed mainly has been from the south side of Phoenix. We've
Yeah.
had Glendale, West Phoenix. We haven't had a
and
true
not just
East side.
hailing from there. Talking
Yeah,
OG,
you got
like
roots.
Yeah,
roots.
nah, like
the orange trees with the white painted on the base are deep in that family.
still got
out
plaques
there.
at
You
the high
lived
school
out in
type.
Chandler for a minute.
Oh, I've been in there, dude. Live Warner
Yeah.
and Alma School, dude. Yeah.
So I grew up on Delaware in Chandler Boulevard, which is like behind the downtown Chandler. It's a
in
little
the heart.
The glow up
Yeah.
story on that area is
Yeah.
crazy. Like in general,
Crazy.
like if you had been here, you know, early 2000s, that area.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like you would almost, it wasn't quite, because at least it's more connected, but it's almost like you would look at like a Maricopa or something where it's like, that's way out there, dude. I don't know. It's pretty far. And it did continue and it just
Yeah.
kept getting built up. And now it's
What's so
some of
crazy,
the
I was
hottest
just
spots.
over there, bro, and it looks so different from where I grew up. Like,
It's
even the
completely
block
different
that I grew
spot.
up on, it was all old houses, like houses built in like the 70s. Now, some of those people sold their house and they've built like
The
condos.
modern looking.
Oh, dude, the flippers must have been frothing at the
Bro,
mouth. to
but
get
it
in
looks
there,
crazy,
dude.
bro. Imagine like a complex, big old complex, and then next door is like a mini house.
Dude,
Big
I'll be
yard.
honest, deep
Hey,
in
you know what
this
I'm saying?
neighborhood, you'll see some of those, dude, because this neighborhood has been around, like, this is like Sunny Slope, basically, and it's been around since Phoenix was, like, kind of started getting populated.
Right.
And, dude, like, sometimes you'll see, like, and you can tell a developer just wanted to buy the whole damn block, and he only got, like, a cul-de-sac, and he was like, fuck it, I'll take it. And there's these huge houses, they're all the same, like, and they all got the same thing next to.
Right, man.
Something tiny that's been there since, like, the 50s. 40s.
So my whole family grew up in the same house, and the house is probably like maybe this room is how big the house was.
In totality.
Yeah. So my
Whoa.
grandmother had 6 kids, so there were 6 kids that lived in this house.
Wow.
This house is still there. They haven't sold it. So that's
Still
why
in your family's name.
Yeah. So that's why all of my like great uncles and great aunts and grandmother went to Chandler High.
Dude, that
Still
is-
got
Hey,
records
the
of
rule in real
track
estate
and all
is you
that
don't-
That's
stuff.
you
crazy.
never sell. The rule in real estate
Yes,
is you never sell.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's still in the
True.
family for sure.
Bro, that's incredible. See, this is why we like doing this podcast, right? Like us just mentioning where you're from, we just got a backstory we didn't even know about.
Yeah, facts.
That's
yeah.
dope.
Can I ask, like, as someone, so my family's originally from Ireland, and I've got roots there, and I've gotten like attached to them. I went out there and saw some cool family things, but to it's different when you grow up and like continue to stay and are able to be successful at a legitimate level, like in the place that you were born. What does that feel like, man? Like,
Yeah.
does it feel different? I mean, obviously you can't know what someone else is feeling, but
Yeah.
like, what does that feel like to just be like, there's got to be an extra sense of I have something on the line. I'm trying to make people proud. Like, I'm really doing it for this city.
You know what? I recently just felt that with all of my family from Texas coming back to Arizona.
What part of Texas?
They're in San Antonio right
Oh,
now.
I love San
So-
Antonio. That's one of my favorite cities out there, bro.
So my whole family
Riverwalk,
migrated from
baby.
Arizona
Great.
to Louisiana and then to Texas. So they just came out
Arizona, Louisiana, and Texas.
here. Right.
I'll
So-
be. Can I just say really quick?
What's up?
is that the funnest family barbecue on planet Earth? Because I couldn't pick a better collection of states, to be honest.
My family is like
You didn't throw Florida in there,
very
maybe.
funny, bro. They're like nothing's serious, and even when it's serious, we find something
It's gotta
funny.
be the best. That collection of states, you honestly couldn't miss. Even if
Fire.
one was just complete bust from that state.
Yeah.
The rest are gonna carry, dude. That's an elite
man.
lineup. Love it.
So, like, to answer your question, I was just recently like thinking about that, like being around family, and then like just being back in that neighborhood that I ain't been in so long. Like, I lived in Louisiana, I lived in LA, I've traveled around the US because I was signed to like an independent label when I was 17, 18. So we were going from Arizona. We had an apartment in Houston, going to New Orleans, Florida, Massachusetts, then all the way back.
Well
Driving
You were on
though.
a Houston, New
Driving.
Orleans, Massachusetts, Vegas. kinda.
Yeah, but like every 2 weeks though, like crazy.
That's a grind.
Damn.
So what was crazy, side story, the person that owned that label also owned a trucking business.
Okay.
So anytime he would
Sending
go
you.
through these cities, we would book shows and then be there.
Are you getting hauled in the back of the semi?
Well, the owner would be driving the semi, but the people like his sons and me as a producer or artist at that time, we had cars, so we were just following them.
Was he hauling the gear for the show, or was he hauling the load plus the gear?
We already had the gear in Houston, so Houston would be our stop. We would go from Phoenix to Houston. We had an apartment there. We would chill. He would go do his loads.
Yep.
We would
He would
stay.
work. He was working.
Right.
Dude, he was double duty.
What an
doing double duty.
outrageously awesome form of just legal hustling, right?
Yeah,
there.
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
completely
Crazy.
above the board
That's
hustling.
awesome.
Yeah,
and
no.
at its
Shout out to
finest form. That's
shout out to
beautiful.
my boy Sticks, man. He really like came through and like orchestrated that whole thing. But yeah, no, I was just thinking about that. Like, man, it's crazy to think, but I don't think about it like, wow, I'm such a staple here or anything like that. I'm just like, wow, I really chose this and was like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And like when it gets to a point where it starts to make sense to my family, when they actually see what I'm doing, like, oh, okay, this is what you're doing. You're producing. What does this mean?
You start seeing the motion, dude.
Yeah, and then it gets to a point where it's like now they're asking me about stuff that I don't think they ever would have asked me about.
Yeah. They're like,
You know
wait,
what I'm
aren't
saying?
you? Isn't this your lane?
Yeah, like how would you sing on this song? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, wow, it's crazy.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not really about like Arizona per se, but more so like family, like just.
Yeah, I
know
think
what I
that's it. It gives you a tie to the city for sure, but like just having that to be your roots of your family are
Yeah.
what
That's
2
incredible.
generations plus at
Yeah.
this point.
Incredible.
I would
Yeah.
assume and it's not that they necessarily live at the house, but when that becomes the hub of the family gatherings and you have that as the anchor,
Yeah.
I just feel like it sends a message. It gives the family unit a strength,
Yeah.
and it's just like whenever shit's hard or a relationship's bad, and it's like, well, my grandma and grandpa kind of on this thing, and they've been
Yeah.
doing this for a while, so I know it's possible.
Right.
How can we get there? Yeah,
Right.
It gives you a different point of reference, which is nice.
Anything that like happens, like if it's bad news, my family is coming from Texas to Arizona, and
That's
everybody
the
knows
conference.
to
They're
link.
pulling
That
up.
becomes
pulling
that's meeting room 1.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
ballroom A at the conference
Exactly.
center. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I just experienced that last week. Probably under unfortunate circumstances, but just to see how my family came through, it was different. Then I got to start thinking about what I'm actually doing. It put like a battery in my back, like, bro, you've been doing this by yourself a long time, but you got people that you got some strength behind
team.
you. Yeah, exactly.
That's
You know what I
dope,
mean?
bro.
Yeah, so it's cool.
And so when did you learn about this gift, right? Like was there a moment, as a youngin' or as you were growing up that like you knew you had this talent or
Yo, so my mom, she had me grow up in the church. So she was singing in the choir. So like I say about from like 3 to 7, I can comprehend what's going on. And I'm sitting in choir rehearsals, watching everything being broken up, the musicians, the choir
orchestration.
director. Yeah, I'm watching all of it. But at that time I didn't know what I was actually doing. So I wrote my first song at 7. And it was like on my way to school, I was just writing it as I'm walking. And I brought it home. It was probably trash. But just knowing like, okay, yeah, now I'm writing songs now. So funny story, bro. I didn't have like all the Power Rangers, since we're talking about Power Rangers.
Okay.
So I used to use you remember coloring pencils?
Yeah.
I used to have a box of coloring pencils that would represent the Power Rangers, and I would narrate a Power Ranger episode. Remember the talk boy from Home Alone?
Yes.
I
Like the
used to-
little voice recorder looking
I
thing.
used to buy blank tapes and narrate the
The one that
Power
had the
Ranger
little
thing.
wired mic.
Dude,
on
he
the
got
side
Uncle
of it,
Frank with that
on
when
the
Uncle
side
Frank
of
was
it.
showering.
Yeah.
The one with
Yeah.
the little wire mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little talk boy thing.
Yep.
So after playing and narrating episodes, I started recording me rapping or me singing a song or
At 7?
on the little
Okay,
talk
so
boy
what
because
year
you
is
can
this? What were
record.
you rapping? What was your influence?
If I was 7,
Are we talking like DMX? We're talking
nah,
Biggie?
No, we talking like my influence back then. Bro, I didn't even listen to a lot of hip hop.
But
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
like
What
what
were
you
you
know
listening
what were your parents listening to? What was the sounds in the house that just seeped into your conscious?
It was Michael Jackson, Off the Wall.
Yes. Great album.
It was Thriller from Michael Jackson. It was Al Green.
Al Green.
It was
Were you a Temptation guy?
Curtis Mayfield.
Okay.
Um,
I was a Temptation.
and then the radio. So the first time that I knew that I wanted to make beats was when I first heard the Khalees and ODB. The Hey, Dirty.
Baby,
I
I
was
got
like,
your money.
what drew
dog.
you-
What is
Dude,
this?
he snaps on that.
What drew you to the production side of it from that song, if that was the one? What drew you to the production side of it versus
Because you gotta think. So we're hearing Biggie, we're hearing Tupac, we're hearing
On West Coast, so you're probably getting like the Ice Cubes, the Snoops.
right. This is our radio, right? Imagine listening to that, and then on the radio, all you hear is.
Dude.
That's like a Billie Jean.
one to
Yeah.
the two to the
You
three?
know what
It
I'm
does
saying?
have that cadence.
Okay.
That's true.
And then he comes in there just, like it's funny, but it's
Come
like
on, guys, set the girl glass to me.
You feel me? That's
You
crazy.
want to get with me?
you want to look pretty though
In my video. And he was like doing his ODB shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you're like, wait, what the fuck is
Do you feel like I'll be honest, one of the things I want to do, honestly, the time and effort required, we would need an intern because I won't personally do it, but we would want to peel through all of the footage from all of our eps. But honest to God, I think 80% of the just people that have come on here have some version of my family played music all the time, my family played an instrument, or I was in church choir.
Yeah.
And I feel like what that gives you is, especially with the choir, it's broken up so you automatically understand the pieces that go into a song right out of the gate. Bass,
Right.
treble, whatever. I don't even know, soprano, mid, whatever all that is.
Yeah.
I feel like that gives you that. It almost is like the first glimpse at a DAW, right? It's
that's
it's your first, okay, so that's them. And then it's like almost like when you eventually get into it, like Pro Tools, like we're looking at there, and the DAW, like you can picture it's like, oh yeah, this is the sopranos, this is this. Okay, and then if I want more than that, I just add more to my band. Did that help with it?
I think to your analogy, I think Pro Tools would be like growing up in a household listening to music, right? The playback from whatever you're listening to would be like growing up in church because you cannot escape that feeling of harmony working perfectly. And you're hearing it,
It's
and
one
they're
thing
right
when you
there.
hear it on the
You
speaker,
know what I'm
you're
saying?
saying, but when you hear all of it live coming together,
it's a different
feeling,
Yeah.
completely different, and you understand what each thing contributes to it versus
Right. So when
looking
it
up
comes
the
to
bass
like,
boosted version of every song.
there you
Yeah,
go. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
when it comes to even me mixing, I keep both of those in mind. So it's like in the car, yes, does it sound good? But when I was making it, I was like grooving in the studio. How come I'm not grooving while I'm listening to it in the car?
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
I gotta go get that feeling back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was the itch.
I gotta ask just a general question. I've literally just came to me while we were talking here. It's interesting because you hear about I remember when when beats started becoming a thing, and then I remember Jimmy Iovine signed a deal to put that in all the Dodges and all that stuff, and he would sit in the car and listen to that. Why is it that producers want perfect reference speakers and perfect settings, in the studio to listen to stuff when they know that people are going to be listening to it on a JBL, a waterproof JBL? You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah,
is
it's a good
what is the motivation there?
That's a
I'll
cute
say
question.
what I've studied. I've studied a lot of sessions from Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson. Like I will watch
Legendary.
that. I watched it religiously. And one thing that he would do is like, or one thing that I think was said was, you can fake anybody out playing music loud as hell. You can, it'll make it seem like, oh my God, this is the best song. So what he would do is go buy these cheap $8 speakers and play his mixes through those. And if they sounded good on the cheap busted speakers,
That's the Jimmy Iovine thing I'm talking about. They would
Yeah.
sit in the car and listen to it.
Yeah.
What does it sound like? And you've heard, I think Too Short used to do that when he used to make custom mixtapes for people in the hood before he was like huge. It was like, oh, I heard you made the Cadillac da-da-da song. Like, can
Yeah.
you make one for me? And he'd go listen to it in the car. And I'm like, why? Now that I think about it, it's like, why would you want to listen to it and release it from like this perfect setting when you know that for a fact no one's going to be lit?
yeah. Well, I think it's different now because like even DSPs put their own compression on the songs. Like if you listen to a song in Apple Music and then listen to the same song in Tidal, you can hear
The difference.
And people
The
don't even
difference.
know about that too. That's the
Yeah.
crazy thing too, dude.
Yeah, I've seen like engineers in LA, they have a whole template of, okay, if I'm mastering this song, I have to master this because I know Apple Music's gonna do this. So now I gotta push these levels up whenever I master it. It's like it changed the dynamic for like engineers that would just master
Sure.
songs.
Can I just
in
say the
general.
number one most disappointing song, and truly I mean this, and I love it because he just dropped the project with Larry June with 2 Chainz, but and I mean no disrespect to 2 Chainz, but I love them strippers on a basic speaker.
Mhm.
One of the greatest songs you've ever heard. When you know that song and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to play it on this big bassy sound system.
Yeah.
I can't tell you a bigger disappointment in the music game than, yes, I love them strippers on a big bassy sound system. There's nothing to be found there. And that's the kind of stuff as a producer where I'm like,
Yeah.
someone should have stepped
I
in
think
there.
that whole era with him and French Montana, all those records that were dropping, if you played in a bassy speaker, it's like,
They're not good.
they're not good.
Dude, for people that don't know, like, because to me, that's, as a listener, I'm like, okay, so like, I hear all these bassy songs. I used to have a Kenwood 12 in the back of my car, and like, I loved all that.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget being like excited the day that that whole thing came out. I put that on there, and I was like, I've never been more disappointed by a song on subwoofers than that.
Yeah.
What is it about a song that makes that happen?
I think, I don't know. I would say from what I remember in that time period, that's when bass was becoming more prevalent in everything. But like it just seemed like the bass was carrying the song. You know what I'm saying? And like even now,
Didn't even hit. It
even
didn't
now they've
boom.
perfected it. Cause I hear songs on my iPhone. Like if the baby drops something, I can hear the 808 on my iPhone.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
And you're always taught to like, you shouldn't be able to hear your 808 if you play it on the phone or if you hear it on your computer speakers. You shouldn't be able to hear it. If you
Not
hear
gonna
it, then it's too
transfer
loud.
over.
Right.
Man.
what
Wow.
I mean?
Okay. I've always wondered that because it's like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's obviously it's one of the greatest songs of all
Yeah.
time to me. It's in my top 100 at
Yeah.
least. And you play that on a big system and it just disappoints you. And I'm like, how does that happen?
Yeah, nah. I mean, there's sometimes some mixes are made for what they're made for. Like some artists when they'll tell the engineer like, no, I need this to hit heavy because I know I'm only gonna market this in the strip club. I know this is not my mainstream.
Don't even put out a bass boosted version. It's already there.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, let's not mix this to the nines. Like, I need it mixed enough for them to dance. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing about like being a producer and an engineer and artist, whatever. Like, you can do all the technical math things about frequencies and everything, but once you take away from the feeling of it, it's like, all right,
different vibe.
then it's just a great mix song.
I think, yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say. So speaking of, I mean, while we're on this wave here, I think I read that like you were influenced or you really dug like the Neptunes and Timbaland. Those were some of
Yeah.
your two.
Yeah.
Timbo's been making beats,
For a
banger
minute.
beats for years, bro.
So here's the
Honey?
thing. I was
Come
telling
on,
you
man.
about
Stands the test of
ODB.
time, dude.
That's why I was telling you about the ODB joint. I didn't know that was the Neptunes. I was just like, yo, this is fire, right? And then change the station and you hear a baby crying in the beat. And I remember asking, I think my mom, like, what the hell is that? How does that work?
Yeah.
How was the baby crying playing like a hi-hat?
Right. Yeah, dude.
I
You picture this baby.
He's right.
Bro, I'm like, and then she's singing on there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Dirty.
That and then like Aaliyah, because with the baby crying in the background, it's like, bro, what?
Yeah.
Later found out that's Timbaland, that's Pharrell. It was over.
Virginia.
I studied everything that they did.
It's weird because if you know the research, they come from like I think it's Norfolk or a specific place in Virginia. And when you add up, you're like, how did two of the arguably the best producers of all time happen to come from the same place?
Right.
There's something that I think, is in the water, as they might say over there,
facts.
like cooking.
I would be hard pressed. Like, it would depend if someone came to me with like, I want this specific sound. But like, if someone just was generally like, I want to be the best possible producer, I would say that combo is probably.
Absolutely. I personally think Kanye West is the best producer of all time. That would be my argument, just because I've seen him go through different genres and different phases.
Right.
But that would be a top three for me is Pharrell, Timbo, and Kanye. That's a top five for me.
I do think
Easy.
Yeah.
I do think it's pretty. Yeah. The
Kanye.
producer alone thing, but like if you just make a separate lane for Kanye, because I think he deserves that.
Yeah,
like, it's
he's an
just like
artist.
he's literally
Still a
he's-
great
He
producer.
is the
Incredible.
most great. He is the greatest single
Artist.
person, one man band in
Yeah.
rap hip hop music history.
For
I
sure.
think ever. I think
For sure.
that's regardless of the statements of the political stuff. Just
Yeah, we won't go there. We're not going to go there right
Yeah, he's going in recently.
now. Yeah.
Like crazy.
But yeah, no, that's dope,
the music's
bro.
crazy. I was just saying, I've always felt like this. I remember being a kid watching, like, I remember Pac-Man Jones was the guy at the time, and he got in that altercation at a strip club. He like pulled out a gun and stuff, and like it was a big deal, and people were shitting on him. I'm like, I even remember being a kid and being like, why do I care about this?
Right.
Did you know how many fucking interceptions that guy has? It's insane. Like,
Right.
and I feel like we don't separate that enough. And it's just like we're like, okay, this person's a great creative, and then they get held to this high standard, and then they have to also be a saint.
I think we did it to ourselves though, as far as like just celebrities in general. When they found out about Twitter and they found out about Instagram, for them it was like a platform for them to be more vulnerable with their fans.
Yes.
And as soon as you become more vulnerable, like, hey, this is my life, this is
Become
my
more
life.
relatable.
Now we have a new expectation on what we expect from you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when
couldn't
you
be
do
a
something
private
in your
artist because no one wants to see that. Yeah.
if you do something in your personal life that we don't agree with, now we have every opinion on it because you didn't let us in. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, you can walk around like Jay-Z and Beyonce. You don't really know what they got going on. You just
But
know
it will
that
do
they're
numbers. Yeah.
that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a gift and a curse, social media, for
Yeah.
sure.
I had a question before we kind of dive into your personal music and things like that. I just want to know from a producer standpoint, speaking on artists that you've worked with specifically here in the Valley, we know you've worked with the Merkhamses, the Kyries, the Emmett Duprees. Is there anyone in particular, whether it's like you just started work with them or you worked with them in the past that, I don't know, maybe you guys had a certain vibe together or you felt this artist was special or had a special gift? I guess anyone that you've worked with in that regard that kind of stands out that you can shout out?
Yeah, Big Doobie. Samar Sen. But she's in LA now, but and Kyrie. All the people you name, most of our sessions we have conversation first.
That was gonna be my part too. Is like, is this a situation where you're sending a beat, or do you get the opportunity to be in studio and kind
Nah, I
of?
hate sending beats, bro.
Okay, that's
Like,
not your.
Yeah.
Gotta be the most impersonal thing ever.
Oh my
yeah.
God. But it's worse because you're like, some people will just hit you up like, yo, send me some beats. You don't even know how they're feeling. So it puts me,
Yeah,
it puts
right.
me
You're
at a
just like, what do you
disadvantage.
want, dude? Like,
You could send them a Rio de Young OGB when they were looking very
Man.
much for
for Drake.
yeah, exactly. For
you
a
know,
triple X
so-
beat. Yeah, exactly.
Or even what I learned from like artists more established, like I would be sending them stuff that I remember them being on. Like say if say if Rihanna hit me up for some beats, back then I would be like, oh, I'm about to send her all the Rihanna songs.
If 2014 Meek Mill hit you up, you would know what type of beat to send.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
right.
meanwhile, she's like, I'm on something else. I want you to send me the stuff that you're afraid to play.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of producer I want to be anyway. I want to take those risks and be like, yo, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm gonna get
cook.
you. Yeah, let me cook. You know what I'm
for a
saying?
sec.
But those artists that I mentioned, they trusted, they seen it. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
it
why
was.
you're in the room, and that's why you get the call in the first place. Right?
Yeah, they seen it, and most of it is like conversation, man. I'm cool. I'm joking. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Producer,
making.
you're the vibes guy, right?
Exactly. You know what I'm
People do
saying?
business with people they like.
Right.
Like
right.
at the end of the day, like there's times where you'll have to deal with people you don't. But like when you have your choice of people, like you're gonna do business with people
Like we
you
say,
get
it
along
just
with,
makes
and
sense.
it feels natural. It just makes sense.
Right.
Then you're yourself. You can be the creative person that you want to be. They can be the creative person they want to be. That's a
Right.
huge.
Yeah, bro. When artists come in, maybe we don't have the greatest rapport, like we just started working, and they go straight in the booth. Okay, I gotta. I was like, oh, you're gonna have a long night. Like you're so tense. You know what I'm saying? Your
You
performance
didn't
on
even
the.
say what up to me.
You feel what I'm saying? Like what's going
There's
on?
a producer and an engineer in the
Right.
room.
You know what I mean? Like what are you going through? What are you feeling like? You know what I'm saying? Like just have like a normal conversation. But people, I get it though. You can get nervous in the studio and just want to perfect, whatever you've written down prior. You just want to get
They
it
feel
out.
like they're coming out to do the Olympic gymnastic routine they've been practicing
yeah.
for 6 months,
Right,
and then they
right.
fuck it up, and then it just probably
Discouraged.
spirals. Yeah, it just.
Oh my God! And it's
Yeah,
hard
I'm
to get
really a
them back.
hitter.
It's hard to get them back after that because that's exactly right. It's a great analogy for that because they've rehearsed this. So by the time they got to the studio, they knew they were going to be perfect. Then they hear themselves on the mic.
Yeah, their voice cracks.
Oh my God!
I'm
it's
really a
over with.
hitter. And they're like, oh,
over
hey,
with.
hey, that was. Hey, was that you?
Right, man. That's so true. It's true.
So no, let's go ahead and get into the music, Jared. You ready to dive
it.
in? There's a specific project you have that there's some tracks on that I want to dive into, but I was able to look back a little bit further than I would call it the last 5 years, and you had a project called 1994. You dropped about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah.
Was that your first kind of big project, you would say, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming that's the year you were born, right? 94?
No.
No?
But it was the biggest. I guess that was like my debut
Right.
project.
Okay, that's what I got.
For sure.
In '94.
No.
You dropped it in
Oh, in
2014.
2014. Okay.
Yeah, I
It
called
was called 1994.
Yeah, 94. Yeah, bro.
You didn't think I'd mention that, did you?
1994 is crazy.
Went back a bit.
But yeah, prior to that, I just had a whole bunch of stuff on like Dat Piff. Like I was doing
You were on
mixtapes.
Dat Piff?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, hey, those who know about Dat Piff, dude,
Yeah.
it saved our childhood.
I'll never
at that.
forget
Facts.
being like cushion orange juice.
Dat
Dude,
Piff.
that was...
I like Kush, and I'm not against orange
Who won't
juice.
drink a glass of OJ, dude?
What could be
Right.
wrong with this project?
Right.
And
The greatest, yeah, one of the greatest
From
projects ever.
rest is history.
Arguably his greatest
Yeah.
project ever.
Facts.
Damn, okay. So I wanted to bring up that, but then let's flash forward. So number of projects since 2019. You dropped one in 2020, one in 22, 23. But Where Do Kings Bleed
Yeah.
in 2019. I just happened, so what I like to do when we prepare for guests coming on the show is I'm an Apple Music guy, Jared's a Spotify guy, so I'll look up the artist in Apple and just hit the shuffle, the play button. And as I'm driving, as I'm working, whatever I'm doing, like that's just what's gonna play to get me ready for this interview. And I came across Hard to Relax just alone, off the title alone. I'm a grown-ass man with kids. Listen, Hard to Relax, like I'm starting to get that.
That's why I respect this guy, because I don't have kids. I got dogs. I got a lady. Got
It's like I felt
life and a job.
sometimes it is hard to relax,
It's
especially when you're
very
a
hard.
emotion getter.
I'll be honest.
my
I took
God,
some.
bro.
I took some metrics this week. Just the other day, it was around 25 minutes. I was to myself, excluding
in a
shit,
full 24 hours?
excluding dumb,
That's it?
excluding.
I even get more than that, and I got
excluding-
kids, dude.
Excluding the porcelain throne, of course, but excluding bathroom breaks, yeah, it was about 25 minutes that I sat down, poured a drink, watched about 10 minutes of my show. So
Damn, bro.
You call it 10, 15 minutes, producing a drink, getting into set, and then 10 minutes of watching your show, and then, hey, really quick, can I ask you? And it's
listen,
done, dude. 2 hours
can I
later.
just say I'm sorry, brother? That sounds terrible, dude.
That's so crazy.
25
Bro,
minutes is not
I like
enough.
that, dude. Listen,
I love
that was just one day. But
I love your ear, bro. Hard to Relax was probably my favorite joint from that song, from that album. Hard to Relax and Meditate was my favorites from that.
I got
album.
another one on there I'm going to talk about. But
Okay, go ahead.
Hypocrite. So let me just say this.
Fire.
I played
It's a
that
banger.
for Jared when I got
Word.
here.
Banger.
First off, the 3-6 Mafia style beat. Let me just say,
It
for a
gave
kid who
me
grew
that-
up on that.
it gave me that knife. I'm trying to what was the Drake 21 song that was what
Knife
once I
Talk.
get again when you know it's on.
Oh, that's off the 21 and Drake collab.
that one. You know what I'm saying? It gave me that vibe. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think that was a
It was just
3-6
yeah,
sample. just exactly
old
that.
3-6 Mafia, old 3-6 Mafia style,
Yeah.
dude. The hi-hats going.
Fire, yeah. Yeah, man. I think even that little sample that I used in there, it was so like braggadocious of
Yes.
like, I don't need love, fuck these bitches, whatever. But the song saying like, bro, I'm a hypocrite, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Again, your titles alone, I was like, I get it.
yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
can
facts.
relate.
Do you ever feel like there's a freedom being a producer where you get to add those elements that add that extra swag to a song where you're not necessarily the artist representing it and maybe they don't have it, but you get to add those little things to a song that make the artist come across that way? Do you ever feel
Yeah.
like you get
Cheat
that?
code.
Cheat
Cheat code, bro. Cheat code, man. I feel like the rawest thing is for an artist to come tell me, like, even when I do EPs, bro, I ask them, I do this thing called like the 7 whys. Because sometimes, you heard about that?
I have not.
If you once you get
I want to hear him explain it.
So basically, sometimes artists will meet you with their artist shit. Like, yeah, you know this. I'm like, bro, that's tight. But like, if we're really gonna work, allow me to cook off some real emotion. So I'm like, yo, so like, what you going through right now? What's going on? Oh, bro,
That's a
I'm
personal question.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
But we gonna be in the studio. We're gonna be personal. So it's like, so what you got going on? Like, what's going on? Oh man, I'm just dealing with this. I got this, and this going on. I just don't know what to do. Why you don't know what to do? And by the 7th why, you normally get to the root of what they're actually going through.
It was like when we were questioning why you quit basketball. We got to the 7th.
You got it, and it's
Got
like,
to the
I'm a
seventh
football
what?
guy at heart. That's what we actually answered at. Dom said, I can't be free, but I said, I'm a football guy at
You
heart.
can't be
but-
free. That's really what it is.
No, I get that 100%, dude.
Yeah, sometimes I've had people like cry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's like
And
a straight up therapy session.
I was gonna say
It
that
is,
could be
though.
the nicest thing a man's heard in a long time, dude. Like real talk, and if we laugh because it's so funny, but it's just like honest to
right.
God. Sometimes, like I'm thinking back, like single days. Listen, when you got a good woman, she asks me how I'm doing all the time. I'm good. So, upon the
That's
law,
good,
I'm
dude.
blessed.
Good.
But as a single man, you don't hear a lot of nice shit, dude.
yeah, facts.
And then all of a sudden you walk in. I'm trying to put myself in that situation. Like, on God, I would probably undress in a locker room before I would rap in front of a guy sitting in front of Pro Tools, knowing it was going to record it.
That's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
I would
analogy,
probably
dude.
change. I would probably just real quick change my clothes and get out of the locker room before I would just start rapping in
Right.
front of a guy. And so you've got these guys in there. For real. Would you rap before
Yeah,
you get
well,
undressed?
first off, not to sound
I'm not saying
sus here,
I pull
but
in
like
the studio, pull my
I go to the
dick
Y
out.
3 days a week and I change like in the gym all the time. It's not a big deal at all, but that's just me.
That's what I'm saying. But like you change are you in a locker room?
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
but it's not like a big deal. But I
that's
get
what I'm
what you're
saying.
saying.
But it feels like a big deal when you step in
Okay.
with him.
So like,
And I'm saying
Now I get it.
personally, but I'm just saying, like, honest to God, is much. That's not a big deal. But like, okay, Jesus Christ, dude,
Okay.
you're gonna make me say it. I'd pull my dick out in a locker room.
So you're gonna make me say
before
it.
I would rap in front of like just like a bunch of dudes. I'll say that, dude. I'll just change my clothing before I rap in front of.
All right.
You've ruined the whole segment, dude. I don't even want to hear
That's
that. Dude.
hilarious.
No, that we're not
That's
editing that out.
It's
either.
crazy. Dude. That's crazy. Dude. I'm out, dude.
I'll say this though.
The rest of that,
There's-
fuck you,
there's-
dude.
there's
Yeah,
been-
honest, on God, fuck you, dude. No, seriously, I'm so sorry. Fuck you, dude.
No, there's
In a
look.
loving way.
There's been people that cry, and then people that's like, bro, I did not come here for this.
They didn't know they were getting a therapy session.
Yeah, but once, bro, I'm telling you, once we get to The Root, they're more like
Once you get in that emotional locker room, dude. No, I'm just
we got to get out the locker room.
Get out the
bro.
locker room.
We got to get out. But yeah, so they just feel like sometimes, bro, and a lot of times when they come up there and they want to work on an EP, they don't really know what they want to do. They just want to put out an album.
Their mind says, I just want to create music. But
Yeah,
when you pull up, it's a different story.
When you pull up with me, I'm a conceptual person. So every album is a concept. Every album is one final thought.
Damn.
Like it's a whole story.
You're right.
So you can go link with anybody and get a single, but if you come over here, we're gonna do something real because
Like,
that's
what's
the
your
only way I
vibe?
can operate.
I'm trying to slide on people. Why? They call me a little duder because I'm actually a little bee-boo.
We've
And I
met
didn't like
Now
that.
think about
We've met
how
with
hard that song would be if you knew the villain's origin story. This is why he's
Ooh.
killing y'all, because y'all made him feel like this. That's tough. Think about the Joker. We didn't really like the second one, but the Joker, you kind of like, oh man, that's kind of fucked up.
This is what I'm saying. When the producer's the head coach, you're trying to bring the best out. Like you are you're air traffic control for the song.
Facts.
That's
Yeah.
really what you are.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like pilots are amazing. You can fly a plane, this and that. Air traffic control is where it really goes down because that's what makes the whole harmony work together. And
Right.
you've got a bunch of pilots in a room, multiple artists, multiple people with perspectives, managers, whatever that is, and you bring it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Jared, you got anything, or you want me to?
No, dude, you know what? I ain't gonna say shit, dude, because I don't feel fucking
Listen, you'll
safe
whip your
on this
dick out in a
podcast
fucking
anymore.
locker room.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying I'll like whip it out and helicopter dick the thing around you. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, we're
I
not 12
personally,
anymore.
I would change in a locker room before I'd
you'd
rap
rap.
in front of a man.
I get it. No, I
You
get it.
got it.
Right now, I would change if we had to go play basketball. I would change in the locker room before I'd be like, really been in South Mountain. Da, 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 da. Like, I wouldn't do that in front of you before.
All right,
Fuck.
I
going
got
away
it.
from the locker room. Ugliest things. Dude, the intro to Myself. Gator don't play no shit.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Gator don't play no shit.
That was
Just
my
I mean,
shit.
just a classic if you know that,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, the intro goes hard.
Yeah.
It's a dope track. Just another note we.
Yeah,
took over here.
I love myself, man. Look, that was the whole thing. It was affirmation.
Sometimes you
saying?
need that, like Jared
Yeah.
said. Like you need people to let you know. Like
No,
you,
don't listen to me, dude. I can't even change in a locker
You may
room.
think you're
I'm
doing good,
out,
but when
dude.
you hear someone else tell you you're doing good,
Yeah.
it feels different.
Yeah.
It does.
And sometimes, as much as like it sucks, you gotta be your own coach.
Dude.
Like, yeah, no, you're fired. No, yeah, you struggled. You fucking failed at all of this. But today, you might win.
Be your own Phil Jackson is what you're
You
saying.
feel what I'm
Basically
saying?
what you're saying.
You ever had someone come to you and be like, I just feel like I'm doing this and that and it's not working and this and that. Or like, I feel like I look at my life and I'm just absolutely depressed by it. And it's just like, what do you say to that? You know what I mean?
For somebody coming to tell me that?
Yeah, but it's like there is a balance there where it's like, are you looking in the mirror realistically and it doesn't make you happy? Maybe you need to make some changes. Yeah.
Or honestly, sometimes, and I do this for myself too, when I get in that mode, like, damn, I'm trying everything, it's just not working. I try to get back to the very minute things. Like
The 7 whys.
you woke up with the opportunity to complain today.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You woke up with the opportunity to talk to God and be like, God, why is this not? Some people ain't granted that opportunity. So it kind of like stops me in the middle of complaining to like go back to bro, you got keys to a car. You can go down the street. Even if you did have you can go get a beer. And shit.
You can
and
fill
shit.
that tank up and be
Amen,
halfway
brother.
across the country in a
Filled up-
few hours,
You
dude.
feel what I'm saying? So I think when I think about it like that, I try to like remind people if they feel comfortable enough to tell me like, yo, I'm going through this. But like, you have the opportunity to tell me.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? So it's not like over.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
So speaking of the boy, you did a full-on EP with Kyrie.
Yeah.
One Crazy Night.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. How did that come about?
2020, we just got
COVID.
word of lockdown. It was B Dot had a crib, and he was like, "Yo, I want to record some songs." I had the portable studio, so I was like, "I'll pull up," and we recorded that whole album in his movie room.
Damn.
Um,
Got a movie room.
Hey, Jamie, can you get me a movie room soon?
Yeah,
Can
it
we
was
work
like
on a movie
2
room?
weeks. 2 weeks. I would pull up every other day. And yeah, we just knocked
Just
out that
cooked.
project. Yeah,
Bro, that's dope.
yeah.
Man, you've done a lot, bro. And now I feel like, again, for those who may have known that you've been doing music roughly since 2014, maybe even before that to now. We kind of talked about it before the show started, but you're now, it seems like, putting more of a focus on your individual artistry. Would you say, like, I think you talk to us about like why now is the good time for that, I guess, and then like where you're gonna go with it.
I think last year I kind of noticed that I was doing stuff that was just taken away from my spirit. Like it got to a point where I was booking and doing music out of a necessity rather than having fun or like expressing something or doing something real. And I was like, bro, if I'm gonna dedicate my life to this 1 in a million shot, why would I do it?
Mainly for other people.
You
I
feel what I'm
get, yeah, I
saying?
knew exactly where
Like
you were going.
it doesn't make sense. While I love collaborating and doing all the things, and I'm still gonna do that, but I just want it to make sense. You know what I'm saying? I want whatever I'm doing going forward to make sense. So I just dedicated this year to like I'm only going to do the music and work with people that I actually like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Jared, does that sound a little
Sounds familiar to a strategy we recently implemented. What do you feel like is the split between staying true to yourself and someone coming to you and say, "Hey, this is the vision I have. I think you might be the person to make that happen." It's a little outside of your lane. How do you respond to that?
why? I just want people like I do the same thing when people be like, "Yo, we should collab." Why?
I'm gonna start doing that. We should start doing that when
Dude,
people. Hey, I gotta get it. We gotta get an episode in, man.
we get that a lot.
Why?
We get the DMs, yeah.
Bro,
Hit him with a why? That's crazy, dude. Hit him with the quick
Bro,
why.
there's so much truth in the detail when you ask them that because it's either like it's like, oh no, we should collab. Okay, why? And pay attention to the answer too.
Okay.
Because it could be like, because bro, I seen what you did on this track and I just resonated with what you did and like and they explain to you how you guys can help each other.
Yeah.
It's like, oh damn.
Wow.
I didn't see it like that. Or you'll get I just seen what you did for Merc, bro. I got a joint we should do.
I see you had plenty of motion. I'd love to get on a track.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now I have to go in the studio knowing that you're only here because I got motion.
And you're also it puts you under pressure to bottle whatever he saw there, bottle that up and bring that into that.
Right.
studio
Now I can't
session.
even be a producer.
Yeah.
I gotta
Cater.
replicate something
Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Man.
Start asking why, man. It'll save you so much time and money and like energy.
No, listen, that might be a good outro to this episode, bro. Like the why, right? Like having you come on, something in me was like, we need this guy on, but again, why? And I feel like now that you've been here, now that we've got to talk, like we know why, and we can't wait for the people to see. What can you say, man? Like obviously you're cooking right now, but what's next? What you got coming? What can the people expect from you?
Man, I'll say this, man, because I've been on this like journey. I'm gonna do my best to be the greatest artist, producer, songwriter, engineer, the best creative I know how to be. What you can expect is God to be in the driver's seat. So wherever I end up, just know it was God and I did my best. That was it.